Some women have spent decades performing strength while silently carrying grief that their body never got to release. And this video is about what happens when survival becomes emotional avoidance and why healing cannot happen until what was buried finally is safe enough to be felt. And I want to ask you something, and I need you to sit with it before you even answer. When is the last time you actually let yourself feel it? Not think about it, not talk about it, not explain it or defend it or process it from a safe intellectual distance, but actually feel it. The grief of it, the rage of it, the loss of it, the little girl version of you who needed someone to protect her and never got it. When is the last time you let her actually cry? Because I want to talk to you today about the thing that keeps more women stuck than almost anything else. Not the person who hurt them, not the lack of justice, and not even the unforgiveness we talked about last week. The avoidance of feeling what actually happened. And I say this as a woman who was the queen of doing it. You became strong because you had to, and nobody gave you the luxury of falling apart. There were children to raise, a household to hold together, a life to maintain, and people who needed you to be okay so that they could be okay. And so you became okay. Or at least you became very good at performing okay. You learned to move forward, to redirect, to stay busy enough that the feeling never quite caught up with you. And you told yourself that that was strength. And in many ways it was. It kept you functioning, it kept you standing, it got you through days and years that should have broken you. But here's what it also did. It kept the wound exactly where it was, frozen, preserved, and waiting. Because you cannot outrun what lives inside of you. You can only postpone the moment it has to be felt. And that postponing takes so many forms that most women never even recognize it as avoidance. Staying busy, staying needed, staying focused on everyone else's healing while quietly neglecting your own. Filling every quiet moment so that the quiet never gets loud enough to say what it needs to say. Helping everyone around you process their pain while yours sits in a corner, patient and waiting. Being the strong one, the capable one, the one who has it all together, the one everyone leans on, because as long as you are holding everyone else up, you never have to look at what is holding you down. And I know this because I lived here for a very long time. There came a moment in my life when I realized something that stopped me completely. I had been holding it together and pretending that I was okay for so long that I had forgotten what real felt like. Not the performing, not the functioning, not the version of me that showed up and held things together and kept moving forward, but the real version, the one underneath all of that, the one who was still sitting there with something she had never been allowed to fully feel. And I realized that I had developed an entire life around not feeling it. Staying busy was numbing. Staying needed was numbing. Staying strong was numbing. Staying focused on everyone else was numbing. And none of it looked like numbing from the outside. It looked like I had all this strength, like responsibility, like being a good mother, a good friend, and a good woman. But underneath all of it was a woman who had never been given a safe enough space to fall apart the way that I needed to. And so I never did. And the wound stayed exactly where it was. And this is where I need to offer you something that might feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, because feeling is not weakness. Feeling is not going backwards. Feeling is not the same as being consumed by it or defined by it or destroyed by it. Feeling is the only way through it because your body cannot complete what your emotions were never allowed to process. And the grief has to move. The rage has to have somewhere to go. The loss has to be acknowledged in its full weight before it can begin to lighten. And the little girl inside of you who experienced things no child should ever experience, she does not need you to be strong right now. She needs you to finally sit with her and let her tell you what she has been holding all this time. Here is what is happening in your body when you avoid feeling. Your nervous system is designed to process experience through emotions. Emotion is not a weakness of character, it's how God created us. It's a biological release mechanism. And when something happens to you and the emotion is allowed to move through you, to be felt, expressed, and completed, your nervous system processes the experience and follows it away as something that happened. Past tense, done. But when the emotion is shut down, suppressed, redirected, or bypassed before it can complete, your nervous system cannot file it away. So it stays open, active, current, and your body keeps responding to it as if it is still happening, because as far as your nervous system is concerned, it is, and that's why you remain in fight, flight, fear, fawn, or complete avoidance. And this is why something that happened 30 years ago can feel like it just happened yesterday. Not because you're weak, but because the emotion that needed to move through you never got to finish. And it is still there, still waiting, still asking to be felt. And I want to be very clear about something, because I know what some of you are thinking. Feeling it does not mean drowning in it. It does not mean going back to the darkest place and living there. It does not mean confronting the person who hurt you. And it does not mean retelling this story over and over until it breaks you open. It does not mean losing control of the life you have built. No, real feeling, the kind that heals, happens in safety, in a contained space with support, with someone who understands how to hold that kind of weight without dropping it or rushing it, or asking you to be somewhere you're not yet. And it is not chaos, it is a release. And there is a profound difference between the two. The first time I let myself feel it, I want to tell you about that. The first time I actually allowed myself to go there, and I mean really go there, not perform the emotion, but not manage it from a distance, not feel a safe edited version of it or myself, but actually feel it. It was terrifying, because I had spent so many years keeping it at arm's length that I had convinced myself if I ever really felt it, it would destroy me. And that grief was too big. That rage was so dangerous, that the loss was too deep to survive feeling all the way through. And what I found on the other side of finally going there was not destruction. It was the beginning of something I had not felt in so long. I had almost forgotten it was possible. Relief. Not resolution, not completion, not instant healing, but relief. Like something that had been pressing against me from the inside for years finally had somewhere to go. And I understood in that moment that I had not been protecting myself by avoiding it, I had been prolonging it. And here is what I want you to really hear: that feeling you have been afraid of is not bigger than you. It's not bigger than God. It feels that way because you've been holding it at a distance for so long that it has grown in the dark. But what's in the dark must always be brought to light. And when you finally turn toward it with the right support, in the right space, in the right way, it does not destroy you. It begins to release you. Because the truth always sets us free, because that is what it has been asking for all along. Not to consume you, but to finally be seen by the one person who has been looking away, you. And God did not design you to carry this alone. He did not design any of us to perform strength over an open wound for the rest of our lives. He designed us for wholeness. And wholeness does not come from managing the pain. It comes from moving through it with support, with safety, with someone who has walked this road and knows the way through. What you couldn't feel and what you don't feel, you can't heal. And what you cannot heal stays in your body from the scene of that crime, taking up space that was meant for your life, for your peace, for your presence, for the versions of you that exist only on the other side of this. And when you finally let yourself feel it, and I mean really feel it, in a safe and supported way, something begins to shift that nothing else could move. The weight changes, not the memory, not the truth of what happened, but the grip of it. You start to have moments where you are fully present in your own life instead of partially managing what lives underneath. You start to feel the difference between carrying something and being carried by it, and you start to come back to yourself. Not the performing self, not the strong self, not the self that holds everyone else together, but the real self, the one who has always been there underneath everything you survived, waiting for you to finally come back to her. So if you've been strong for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to not be, I want you to hear this. You do not have to keep performing, not here, not with me. You're allowed to feel exactly what you feel: the grief, the rage, the loss, the exhaustion of carrying something this heavy for so long. All of it is welcome here, because this is not a place where you have to have it all together. This is a place where you can come exactly as you are, and you begin to find your way back to yourself. And if you are ready to stop carrying this alone, the inner healing journey method is where that begins. Not a quick fix, not another thing that asks you to perform healing you have not yet found, but the real work at the level where the wound actually lives. And if you are a man watching this, a husband, a father, a pastor, a leader, raising her worth was built for you, because I believe healing flows from the top down, and the woman in your life needs you to understand what they have been carrying. All of it is on my website at innerhealingcoaching.com, and the link is right here in the description. And before you go, would you subscribe and help me to reach 1 million women over 50 who need to hear this? And if you know a woman who has been strong for so long that she has forgotten what it feels like to not be, would you send her this? Because she does not need more advice. She needs to know it's finally safe to feel it. God bless your healing, and I will see you next Monday.